I've had fun watching football for the entire time that I have watched football so far this year, and I hope you guys are all doing the same because it's really been a highlight of my life in this terrible shithole of a year.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. My name is Nick Walsh. I am your host tonight, and I am here with a man who, if you thought one podcast with him was sweet, then you are in for a treat this week because we have Vinny Gonzalez back for round 2 and part 2 of the week 3 preview. Vinny, what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. That was a nice little rhyme. Very, very cute.
I thought about it like midway through the day, and that was what I came up with. That was like the best I could do.
Well, in that case, that's kind of rough. I thought it was like off the cuff. So I'm gonna demote that one.
Was rough and cuff off the cuff or what?
The fucking Dr. Seuss podcast.
Yeah, seriously. Welcome to the Dr. Seuss podcast, where we also talk about football. No, we are here. We are here for part 2 of the week 3 preview. If you missed part 1, we had the second straight week of the Voncast, and I got to tell you, it was great. It was some really good stuff. For the second straight week, I learned a lot. I had a good time. You guys definitely went like an hour 50, and we're probably going to do the same thing here because we have no self-control and love talking to each other about football. So that's what we're going to do. We've got 8 games. If you missed the first 8, then again, go back and check that out. But Vinny, before we jump into the games, do you mind if I take a victory lap on my weekend on the podcast?
Oh, no, go ahead. I didn't know if you wanted to or not. And I'm like, a fucking course you do. So, yeah, floor is yours.
Yeah, dude. You guys made a reference to Walsh money on the first podcast. And the reason for that was
undisclosed amount of money. I
had my best weekend ever on DraftKings this past week. I turned about $200 worth of entries into $16,000. Came in second in the 3-point stance, which is a $33 5 max entry tournament. On DraftKings and finished 78th in the Millionaire Maker. So I guess it was validation because I kind of do know what I'm talking about, I feel like now. And yeah, it felt fucking great. So if you do play daily fantasy, I normally put my thoughts out like for no one to care about on my Twitter on Sunday mornings. I'll normally just kind of tweet out like what players I ended up on, like who I'm fading, that kind of thing. My Twitter is @NWashington. So if you have any interest in that sort of information, go ahead and give me a follow. I'm apparently okay at this. I won some decent money, and I'm going to up my stakes this week and try and win a shit ton more money because fuck taking the money out of the account. No, I did take a little bit out. But, yeah, dude, I looked at it. There are 2 things, and tell me what you think about this. Should I be pissed or not? So I was always on Paris Campbell for the same price as Deontay Johnson last week. The lineup that I had that scored 227 points got me the $16,000. Had Paris Campbell in it. It was the highest finishing lineup in the Millionaire Maker with Paris Campbell, which is like insane to me. But also Deontay Johnson was the same price. And if I had played Deontay Johnson over Paris Campbell, I would have won the $1 million. Would you be upset?
Oh, my God.
Or because my thinking the whole week was Deontay Johnson would be more heavily owned. So I go on Paris Campbell, and I also thought Paris Campbell had a better route to targets, which was not true in the end because the Colts just ran the ball.
Well, so it sucks that he also got hurt. Like, he didn't just have a bad game. Like, it's just you will never know. It's just like in that ether. But, dude, you could have that would absolutely kill me.
I don't feel that bad about it because I never really considered Deontay Johnson, but I think I should have considered Deontay Johnson because my expectation was Deontay Johnson like 25% owned and Paris Campbell like 9% owned. And the truth is they were both like 13% owned. So I didn't even get like the ownership like boost that I thought I was going to get. And that was my main decision-making point, which makes it hurt a little bit more that I didn't play Johnson in that lineup.
I guess. I mean, it's like a slight overthought, and you still wound up with like a nice chunk of money. So, yeah, I guess you can't be too mad, but just knowing that could have happened, like, yeah, that made me kind of sick.
I was one kind of like chalky click away from $1 million. But, hey, we're playing good this year. We're making good decisions. I feel like
Also,
I've turned the corner on DraftKings.
Now every time you make that click, you just be like, yeah, that could be the $1 million.
Yeah. And it's easy to get wrapped up over injuries like Paris Campbell. Like, it's easy for me to be like, oh shit, like if Paris Campbell hadn't gotten injured, like what would have happened? But also, like, if Devontae Adams doesn't get injured, like there's no way Aaron Jones, and we'll talk about that later in the game, but like there's no way Aaron Jones has 48.6 DraftKings points. You know, it's like, so there's positive and negative injury variance everywhere. But yeah, I wanted to let all the listeners know that I kind of do know what I'm talking about with DFS. So maybe if you have any questions on it, I know we're mostly a season-long podcast, but if you have any questions on it, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to the podcast, and we'll give it our best shot. But yeah, thanks for letting me take that lap, Finn. Without further ado, let's get right into the games, unless you got anything.
No, I'm on a cold streak, so don't listen to me. Just listen to Walsh. Well,
we're going to turn that cold streak around this week. I think that's the plan.
That's what I say every week.
That's one of these days you're going to be right. But all right, so let's jump right into the games. We do have 8 of them, and we're going to start with the 2-0 Las Vegas Raiders at the New England Patriots. Now, New England is a 5.5-point favorite here with an over/under of 7. What the fuck? That has to be 47.5.
Yeah, I think it is 47.
I wrote 7.5 points. Oh, man. Check your notes before you start recording next time, asshole. Anyway, 47.5 points. So let's start with the Las Vegas Raiders, who, as I said, are 2-0 and have looked really good throughout 2 weeks. New England's defense didn't shut down the Seahawks in week 2, so I don't think they're the same New England defense as last year, even after a dominant week 1 performance against Miami. So on the Raiders side of the ball, how do we feel about Derek Carr? Is he a guy you're considering as a starter against New England?
Oh, God, no. No.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Also, Ruggs is out now, so they really don't have anyone to throw to besides Darren Waller, who's been banged up this week. So, yeah, I wasn't on Carr before. He had a pretty good game, but I'm not. No fucking way.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking like a bad situation for the Raiders, just all things considered. That being said, week 2, the offense ran entirely through Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. So Jacobs, week 2, 27 carries for 88 yards, 3 catches for 17. He really had no room to run, but that was after an explosive week 1. So are you still in on Jacobs even with the underdog status on the road?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to run him, and I think the Patriots are going to dare them to run the ball because they're probably going to stack the box. But Jacobs going to get so much run that he'll probably have a decent outing, probably punch one in, and I don't know. It's just the volume is too much to ignore, and you're playing him anyway. He also did have a banged-up week at practice, but also is questionable along with Waller. So I think he's going, but he's going to be their entire offense, and it's just it's too much to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it with Waller, 38% of the team targets on the season. He really is that whole pass game right now. As you said, he is banged up, but he's, another guy at the weakened tight end position that you're just never going to sit unless he's like really, really hurt.
Yeah, exactly. You can't afford to not play him or get too cute on the wire with someone else. Yeah,
definitely. What is it? I was looking at like Mo Alley Cox and like shit like that this week.
Yeah, or like Logan Thomas. Like you can't do that. Yeah.
All right. Moving to the wide receivers. You mentioned that Ruggs is out. That sucks. You would think the starting 3 are going to be Renfro, Edwards, and Aguilar. The Raiders have also been running a lot of multiple tight end sets. Foster Moreau and Jason Witten, both over 32% of snaps on the season, but really not getting much work in the pass game. So do you have any interest in these ancillary pieces?
I do not. Also, we saw like the other guys who you wouldn't even consider playing, like Zay Jones or Alex Ingold, your boy, catching touchdowns and being like pretty involved. So it's just going to be a fucking crapshoot there. So I'm going to stay away.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens when Ruggs gets healthy, but I think we can kind of say after 2 weeks that this offense is Jacobs, Waller, and that's it. Like every week. until something different happens, because they really do just spread the snaps and the looks around so much behind those two.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better.
All right, let's move to New England's side of the ball, where Cam is quarterback 3 after 2 weeks, largely on the back of his 122 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. You're obviously rolling Cam in this matchup, right?
Yeah. I think they're going to really bring it to the Raiders. Like, they just had a close loss, and I think they're just going to go back home and just fuck the Raiders up.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think he's 6,700 on DraftKings, and that is something you should also be doing.
Oh my God.
If that's the case. He's like not expensive at all. He's like maybe like, I think he was like $400 more than Matt Stafford or something like that. But anyway.
Seems like an oversight.
Yeah. Cam's going to be a great play in all formats this week. Let's talk about his pass catchers. So, Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry each have 13 catches on 18 targets this season. Weirdly enough, though, Edelman is dominating the air yards with 55% of the team air yards. Do you have a preference between these two?
Edelman? I don't even think it's close.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. That was probably a dumb question. I apologize.
It's just it's cool to see Edelman. Like, it's just, I feel like his season-long perspective, I guess, is like looking like he's going to get hurt or something. He looked very fucked up at the end of the Seahawks game. And it's tough for that. Like, he's what, 34?
He's old. I don't know 33? How old he is. It's not young.
He's like the entire receiving core. He's doing everything. So it's, I'm going to ride it while it lasts, but man, it's good while it lasts. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you have any interest in Harry? Is he someone who you would consider if you're like kind of weak at wide receiver?
I would, yeah. I mean, especially in this game, I think they will have to spread it around a little bit if the Raiders are going to try and stop Cam. So, and he did get a lot of looks during the Seahawks game, just didn't really come through with them. So I think they're going to – I mean, they have no choice, really. It can't just all be Edelman all the time. So I think, like, Harry's, like, next on that pecking order, and I think eventually he'll have a blow-up game. And going against the Raiders while the Patriots are home seems like a good spot, especially with all the injuries to wide receivers. Yeah,
no, that seems pretty fair. Damiere Byrd is their third wide receiver, and when I was looking up his stats, because he got 9 targets, 6 catches, 72 yards in week 2 against the Seahawks, and I was like, damn, like, how did that happen? So I looked it up, 86% snap share in week 2. I was like, well, shit, was he hurt week 1? Like, did he just come back and, like, all of a sudden he did something week 2? Because I don't remember seeing anything about him week 1. It turns out he had 88% of the snaps in week 1 and just had no targets. So, like, we're looking at a guy who had no targets on 90% of the snaps week 1. Week 2, still got the same amount of snaps and got 9 targets. Is that worth any sort of like risk or speculative ad or anything, or am I digging too deep on Damiere Byrd?
I mean, you're doing your job, Walsh. I'll say that. Maybe a speculative ad, like a 12-teamer. That's probably as far as I would go with that one. It just seems like he's not going to get the looks, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was just like, I don't know. I brought it up because it was like very bizarre to me when I looked at it. It was very, very, very strange. But let's talk about the running backs, because tight end on this team is not something you need to worry about. James White missed week 2 after, tragic circumstances. His parents were in a car crash. I believe one of his parents passed away. James White has not yet returned to the team. I don't know when he's going to. I don't think there's any indication of it. But in his stead, Rex Burkhead got 70% of the snaps in week 2. He still just had 6 carries and 6 targets. Do you have any interest in a Burkhead or a Sony Michel?
Not really. No, it just seems the whole rushing offense is Cam, and there's really not much else. Like, how can you look yourself in the face if you're playing Rex Burkhead this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to start both Jerick McKinnon and Dion Lewis in my biggest league this week, so I don't know if I can really judge anyone too hard for playing Rex Burkhead. It might honestly not be. I still have to consider the Dion Lewis position. I'm pretty in on McKinnon, but who knows? Maybe I end up picking up Burkhead and playing him by Sunday morning.
Okay.
But that's more a statement of the sad state of affairs that I'm in than anything else. I think you're correct. Burkhead's not a guy to really target here. And 70% of the snaps in week 2, they were playing from behind. I would expect that to go down and Michel to maybe get a bit more work in week 3, but I still don't think that makes Sony Michel a starting caliber running back by any means.
Yeah, no way. Which is a shame because you think on like such a rush heavy dominant offense that there would be at least one beneficial running back to this, but it's just Cam.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 4 rushing touchdowns.
That's not going to stop either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to rush for 32 touchdowns, but like double-digit rushing touchdowns seems pretty safe at this point for Cam if he stays healthy.
I was watching that game with Laura. She's like, "Does he have the record for just most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback?" I'm like, "Yeah, no one's even close, and no one will ever be close."
I mean, who knows with Lamar, but he's not really as much of a touchdown guy as just like another, Cam's a fucking fullback. They're doing the thing again. The Patriots.
Lamar isn't like 270 something.
Yeah, this is going to get a little bit in the weeds, but back at Auburn, they used to run the inverted option with Cam, which is normally on the option, the running back takes the give up the middle, and then the quarterback goes outside. That's the designed play. And what they did with Cam was Cam would read up the middle. The read between the tackles was for Cam, and the read for the running back was to the outside because Cam was bigger than all the running backs. And now the Patriots are doing the exact same thing 10 years later or whatever it is, where they're running this inverted option and making Cam their between the tackles back. But anyway, it's fun. It's fun to watch. And I'm gonna pick the Patriots in this game as much as it saddens me to do so.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick them too. Sorry, Walsh.
It's okay. All right. Next game. New York Jets at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are a 7-point favorite with an over-under of 45. If the Colts weren't trying to slow the ball down and run it 80 times, I would probably bet the Colts -7, but who knows? The Jets are fucking terrible. They're the worst team in the NFL. It's not close. Is there anyone on the Jets that you want to play?
Not a single person.
Yeah, I mean, just so we give a full picture, neither Crowder nor Perryman are practicing yet. They both have injuries. So the starting 3 wide receivers set for the Jets looks like it's going to be Chris Hogan, who is also questionable, Braxton Berrios in the slot, and former Cincinnati Bengal Josh Malone. I guess it's worth noting that Hogan and Berrios each had 8 targets last week. Malone had 6 in week 2, and I'm pretty sure Berrios got in the end zone. But no. The pace of this game is going to be slow. It's just not a situation to have to choose one of these guys.
Yeah, and their target share isn't necessarily something to go after. Just because they get 8 targets to 10 targets a game, they're still on this offense and it's bad. Those targets are not valuable.
Are we done with Chris Herndon after only 4 targets? And apparently they kept him into block most of the game, even though they had no one else to run routes. What the fuck? Adam Gase. I said last week I was turning the corner on him, and I was like, now I think he's funny.
It's not funny.
When he didn't give Chris Herndon targets, it was no longer funny. But
dude, Frank Gore's going to die out there. That guy's pushing 25 carries for these guys. He's killing himself for nothing.
Yeah, that was hilarious to me when it's the Jets come out at half, down or for the second half, down 21-3, and immediately give Frank Gore 2 carries, and they were his 16th and 17th of the game. I was like, fuck yes. Let's go. Let's fucking establish this run. With the running backs, not someone you need to worry about this week, but LaMichael Pirine is practicing in full after getting around 20% of the snaps in week 2. Should be on the waiver short list if his workload increases, I think, because I know it's the Jets. I know they're a bad team, but he is at least young and exciting, whereas we know exactly what Frank Gore is.
That's fair. Yeah, I didn't even really think about that. But I don't know. I remember last year we were kind of at this point with the Dolphins, but at least the Dolphins had some kind of glimmer of fun to them. The Jets are just not even fun.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to be with Adam Gase there. So Let's talk about the Colts. The Colts completely changed their approach in week 2. After 46 throwing attempts in week 1, they threw the ball only 25 times in week 2, and they gave it to Jonathan Taylor 26 times. So with that being said, how do you think this game's going to play out? Do you see the Colts running it or passing it more?
They're going to run. It's going to be the same exact thing. I think Jonathan Taylor has another massive game. I think we see Naheem Hines kind of dip off again. It's definitely not game script for him. And I would be nervous to keep playing like T.Y. If you were spot playing like either Michael Pittman or Zach Pascal. Like this is not going to be a shootout or anything. So I think really just Jonathan Taylor's the play here, and everyone else is. I would be very nervous, even with Jack Doyle coming back. Like they have a good passing attack, they just will not need it in this game.
Is Doyle coming back? I thought he wasn't going to play again.
I think he's back. Let me just double check that.
I'm pretty sure I picked up Mo Alley-Cox in places, so that fucking sucks.
Let me vet that very quickly.
Yeah, because before I picked him up, I looked, he's questionable. Fuck. Reich said he's ready to roll.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I dropped Austin Hooper for Mo Alley-Cox in the league, which, who cares? But
you could probably get him back. Yeah, it's not going to.
Yeah, all right, whatever.
You're okay.
Yeah. You mentioned T.Y. Hilton. The thing so going through the research this week, T.Y. Hilton only played 58% of the snaps compared to 92% for Pittman and 81% for Pascal. There was nothing mentioned about him having an injury. I couldn't find a single word about it.
Yeah.
He must be injured.
I think it's more of he's almost elevated to that status, kind of how Julio is. It's kind of like an undocumented, he could be hurt, but he's just kind of decoying out there. But that just makes me more nervous. And you know how T.Y. has that injury history, and it's just not very good to see, especially, I don't know, you kind of took him – what is it, the fourth round sort of for T.Y.? So
I think a little bit later, fifth round or so.
Yeah,
but
so you didn't pay up too much, but it's still he was probably in your lineup the last 2 weeks and probably will be again. It's just you don't love it. Yeah,
and it's worth noting that he did drop a deep ball, and he still got around 40% of the team's air yards in week 2. Like I said, they didn't really pass the ball much, so the percentage numbers aren't necessarily gigantic total numbers, but even with that 58% of snaps, he led the team in air yards. He still got 20% of the team's targets. I'm not necessarily off of him if you need to play him, but you're right. I'm trying to find a way to bench him if I can.
You think T.Y.'s a buy low, or are you just straight up concerned?
I would have to take a look at the Colts' schedule in more detail, because I think if we can get them into more projected high scoring games against better teams, then yeah, I think he could be a buy low. Do you have any buy low inclination on him, or?
It was just kind of a thought that crept in, but their upcoming schedule is Bears, Browns, Bengals, Lions, Ravens. So
in the Bengals game, the Lions game,
Browns too. It could be those could be more shootouts. The Bears that's a little tough, but yeah, I think then after them, that could be more of a high volume Rivers game.
Yeah, I could see trying to buy low on T.Y. right now. I could see that being a good play. But again, the potential injury concern and the fact that we don't know why he only played 58% of the snaps last week would always weigh in the back of my mind. But sometimes you got to take risks, and I don't think that's the worst risk to take.
So to spin that positively, I think Frank Reich is a good coach, and if they're dominating the Vikings, if they're dominating the Jets in this game, maybe you just T.Y., take a breather. This is fucking dumb for you to be out there.
That's also possible. You never know. He's 31 years old now. He's not a young dude. And it's also possible that, with Paris, now I'm retrofitting this narrative to it, where Paris Campbell got hurt and Frank Reich was well, we got to find out who our number 2 receiver is. So he just threw out Pittman and Pascal out there and was all right, you two guys figure it out. And Pittman was definitely the winner of that. He had 6 targets and 21% of the team air yards. So
he's good.
Yeah, I like Michael Pittman. I think he is good, and I was on him before the season a little bit. So I'm interested to see what he does. But again, not the week, because they should really just be able to hand the ball off to Taylor. Even though the Jets are the Jets are a better run defense than they are pass defense. And the Niners got almost all their rushing yards on 2 big plays, an 80-yarder and another 55-yarder. So I don't know. I have a lot of questions about this whole situation, and I know that's not the best like audio conclusion or whatever, just being like, but
Sure.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about these Jets.
Didn't we?
Yeah, we already did. Sorry. I'm dumb as shit. I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, me too. Hammer that.
All right. Carolina at the Los Angeles Chargers. Carolina, I think what we've seen so far is that their defense is bad. Their offense is decent. Christian McCaffrey is hurt. And they're having a hard time getting the ball down the field. So I don't think that's going to change this week because the goal of the Chargers pass defense is to limit big plays. And outside of that one big play to Tyreek Hill in that game against the Chiefs, they really did that. So what do you think about Teddy? I mean, I know we haven't been starting Teddy, but is there any – there isn't, right? There's no –
No, but I will say, like, he's been getting – I don't know if it's, like, just playing – well, it is. It's playing from behind a lot and a lot of garbage time, but his stats seem more inflated. He's playing pretty poorly, but putting up, like, over 300-yard games consistently. I think that keeps up here. Like, I think the Chargers win this game, but I do think that the Panthers just do the typical thing they've been doing for the last 2 weeks, which is stay in the game.
Get some G time?
Yeah, fight back in for some garbage time, and Teddy spreads the ball out a lot. Loves Robbie Anderson. I think Mike Davis is going to have a lot of catches. And then that's pretty much it for this game, though. I don't know. Are you worried about, like, DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel's involvement?
Curtis Samuel, yes. DJ Moore, no. And I will go through my diatribe on their usage right now to explain why. So Robbie Anderson has clearly been the guy who's had the best results, 15 catches, 224 yards and a touchdown. DJ Moore, only 12 catches, 174 yards and no touchdowns. But let's take a look at their targets and air yards. So DJ Moore, 29% of the team targets, 47% of the team air yards. That is huge. Like 47% of the team air yards is ridiculous. Robbie Anderson, 24.5% of the team's targets, 31% air yards, and actually a lower ADOT than DJ Moore. So despite Robbie Anderson's reputation as a deep threat, DJ Moore is actually being targeted down the field more than Robbie Anderson right now, which might explain the discrepancy in their results a little bit so far this season. Curtis Samuel is clearly the number 3 here, 14.5% of the targets and only 14% of the air yards. So to me, DJ Moore is a guy to buy low on right now. Robbie Anderson might be a guy to sell high on. And Curtis Samuel really just shouldn't even be considered unless you think he's going to also get carries out of the backfield, which in his defense, he did have 4 rushes for 26 yards in week 2. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at on the wide receiver core. What are your thoughts on that?
That was pretty good. Anything I say is just going to dumb that down. I don't know. I've enjoyed because I picked Robbie in like almost every league. So I was like, this is great. And then you just made me feel like it's fucking dumb to have him.
Well, it's not because he's still getting 25% targets and 30% air yards. Like that's great. That's like
it's been a lot of yak though.
I think he's averaging 6 yards per catch in yak, which is like pretty significant.
Yeah. Well, that's just what I said before is like, it's a lot of like garbage time. Defenses are tired. It's like late in the game, but points are fucking points.
Yeah, and maybe the sell high on Robbie Anderson wasn't the correct thing to say, but the buy low on DJ Moore, I 100% think is the move at this point. Like
I could see a lot of people frustrated with that.
Yeah, and if you can get it, and like I said, the Chargers' pass defense goal is to limit big plays, so it might be another, lower end week from DJ Moore. Like if DJ Moore has a third week of not really going off. But continues on this line of usage, you need to be sending trade offers to every DJ Moore owner in every league that you're in.
I really like that. So how do you feel about Mike Davis? Because they didn't really get much, rush involvement after like Christian McCaffrey left, and I think he caught like 7 passes on 8 targets.
He caught all 8 of them for 74 yards, which is pretty wild. And I don't know about you, but like I'm on the team of like Mike Davis is a good football player. Like I've liked him for a long time since he was with the Raiders. And I don't know, like I think he's good. And I don't think Trenton Cannon and Reggie Bonifant are really going to factor in here. So like, yeah, I think Mike Davis is a solid like low end RB2 with upside to do more if he really gets involved in that garbage time passing game.
Yeah, I like when you look at it, it's like, oh, he's not going to be Christian McCaffrey. It's like, yeah, of course not. But are Cannon and Bonifant going to take away from any of that work? Probably not. I think he's going to get at least 80% of that running back work. And that's like very huge in this game. Going against the Chargers is not very sexy, but when you get that volume or that guaranteed workload, like you can't really pass that up, especially when you just got him off the waiver this week.
Yeah, 100%. So let's move to the Chargers, where Tyrod Taylor is now out indefinitely after being stabbed in the lung with a pain injection by the team doctor.
That was insane that came out.
Yeah, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like
that whole thing was bizarre because I was watching Red Zone, so I didn't know immediately, but they were just like, "Dude, Herbert is in right now. I don't know why," and it was just like this whole just like dead silence over like Red Zone.
Yeah, and like
what is happening?
No one knew, and like some people and myself included were like, "Were the Chargers trying to hide this?" And then like.
They were.
It's less reactionary people were just like, you do not hide making a starting quarterback change in the NFL in 2020. That's not how things work. Like you don't all week say like Justin Herbert is going to be our quarterback and not tell anyone. That's like not how the world works.
Oh, I thought you meant hiding the injury.
Yes. Hiding the injury. They absolutely were. But it was so bizarre that it was like last second injury to Tyrod Taylor's chest.
It was scary as fuck, too.
And now he's out. And it's like, well, what the fuck could that possibly be? And hearing it, it's like, oh, I guess that's like the only thing it could have possibly been. It's really, really strange. But talking of Herbert, I mean, dude, 22 for 33, 311 passing yards, a touchdown and a pick. He added 4 carries for 18 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Should I have started Justin Herbert over Gardner Minshew last night?
We didn't even talk about Minshew. That just like fucking bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
The only good play on the Jaguars was James Robinson out of Illinois State.
Best fucking state around. But Herbert, man, that you couldn't have asked for a better like step up moment. It was just like, hey, sorry, we accidentally like almost killed Tyrod before the game. You're up.
Can you play? And he's like, yeah, dude, totally. also, you're playing the Super Bowl winner.
The Super Bowls,
yeah, whatever.
The Super Bowls. Yes, you're playing the Super Bowls. Like that was so fucking impressive, man. But I don't know. Like in my mind too, it's just like we are probably overrating. Like it could have just been a freak thing or a flash.
Didn't have enough time to think about it. It's just out there kind of reacting.
He was just numb the entire game. Just like, what happened?
Yeah. It's like, sorry, I blacked out. It's like, dude, you went to overtime against the Chiefs. He's like, what did I do? But,
the funniest thing would just be he comes out and just is hot garbage against the Panthers.
Well, that's the thing. And like, I didn't even think about it until like doing the prep for this, like after I had already done my waivers, but like, this is a great matchup for Herbert. Like, I haven't looked at his price on DraftKings, but he's not a bad play if he's fucking cheap as shit,
Herbert, Mike Williams stack, millionaire.
Might not be wrong. We'll talk about Mike Williams in a little bit. Actually, let's just get into the pass catchers.
Sure.
So Mike Williams got a bunch of usage week 1, I think 9 targets. But week 2, the premier usage was Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. Allen saw 10 targets for 7 catches and 96 yards on 39% of the team's air yards. Henry had 8 targets, 6 catches for 83 yards on 28% of the team's air yards. Williams only 4 targets, 2 catches for 14 yards, 23% of the air yards, so he's getting targeted downfield again. And the Chiefs do have an underrated pass rush, which is something I said on last week's podcast, was that Mike Williams was not a good play because of the Chiefs' pass rush. The Panthers don't have a pass rush. So are you in on Mike Williams or are you in on like the Allen and Henry shorter usage type of thing?
I'm in on all 3. Matchup's too good for it.
That's the correct answer. I mean, you're right.
They're all plays, man. Yeah. I mean, you're always playing Keenan. I feel like most people are always playing Hunter Henry, depending on like how your draft went. I'm sure he's a lot of people's number ones. You're not dipping anywhere in the waiver wire for that.
No.
I guess the biggest question is like, do I play Mike Williams? I think the answer is yes. Like he's a very high wide receiver 3, and with the matchup, probably a low 2.
Yeah, I mean, it is a situation where the only downside, I think, with Williams is that this could turn into a game where just like Austin Eckler gets 22 carries and Josh Kelly gets 21, you know?
The old, like what we just said with the Colts game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the downside for this whole passing game, and even like the Justin Herbert as a streamer or a cheap DK play sort of thought process is that the Chargers are a 6.5 point favorite against a defense that can't stop anyone. And we know that Anthony Lynn wants to run the ball first. So if he can run the ball 45 times, like, is he going to do it, or is he going to let his rookie quarterback air it out a little bit to give him a little bit more confidence? I would lean towards it being a game for Eckler and Kelly. And I do think that both of them should absolutely be started this week.
Yeah. Fuck. I guess the only thing in this game where it's different than like the Colts-Jets one we were just talking about is the Panthers can put up points. So
okay.
there is that slight caveat with that.
Right. No, that's fair. That's a good point. That does give the pass game a little bit higher of a floor than the other ones. So yeah, you're definitely right on that. That's a very good call. So is there a chance that we just want to start all 5 of these skill position guys? Like, I think that's.
I think everyone will be played that is on the Chargers that you own. I don't know if anyone's getting too cute with Herbert just yet, but the DK play is very intriguing, obviously. But yeah, nothing season long right now. But yeah, I think we're playing fucking everyone.
I like it. I'm going to take the Chargers.
Me too, but I'm going to take the points with Carolina. I think they can hang.
Okay, I like that. Maybe a nice little like backdoor cover touchdown to Robbie Anderson or something.
Eddie to the goal line.
Yeah, get inside the 6 points and call it a day. All right, let's move to Detroit at Arizona, where Arizona is a 5.5 point favorite with an over-under of 55.5. We expect this to be a high-scoring game. At first, I thought that was a little confusing, but it turns out Kenny Golladay is trending towards being available, which I think makes that over-under a little bit more tenable for me. What do you think in terms of that?
I think that's the entire reasoning behind it. It's just, will the Lions be able to keep putting up points? Because they looked very bad, like close to Jets bad the first couple weeks. And I don't know, like Kenny Golladay coming back, I'm very nervous because I'm in a lot of leagues. I'm just like, soft tissue injury, been out the first 2 weeks. I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's just, I don't know. I'm nervous he's going to get hurt again.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely fair, but you absolutely have to be playing him. And I think playing him or him playing brings Stafford back into the starting quarterback conversation a little bit as well. Do you agree with that?
I do. And I think the matchup against the Cardinals is more scary on paper than it actually is. Like, it's less of a threat than it appears. Patrick Peterson, not as good as he used to be. We had Terry McLaurin just like kind of go off. I think that Matthew Stafford could definitely have a game here, and these guys could definitely get open. I think Marvin Jones has a better game too because he's better with Kenny Golladay on the field.
Yeah, that's one thing I think that has really been shown is that Marvin Jones is better with Golladay on the field. But I agree with you with Arizona just because they're such a high-paced team. You know, like we're guaranteed to have a lot of plays in this game, and Stafford's going to need to chuck the pig around. I think Golladay is an absolute play. I think it makes Jones a better play, but I don't think he's a must play. Targets have been spread super evenly among the first 2 weeks of the season. The Lions have had 5 players between a 12 and 20% target share, which is never what you want to see in terms of like, you know, fantasy output, that sort of thing. So I think it's tough to really get behind anyone outside of Golladay, even Marvin Jones this week. If there was one guy, I would get behind TJ Hawkinson, who only has 9 targets on the season, but has turned it into 9 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. He's just good. And I think they're dumb for not like throwing it at him more. But
it's the old Eric Ebron treatment. It's like, let's spend a high pick on a very talented tight end and just kind of not use them.
Yeah, I guess so. It's very bizarre. But I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts on like the wide receivers and tight ends there?
That's about it.
Okay. With the running backs, again, bizarre sort of situation here. In week 2, Carrion had the most carries, and he got the touchdown, which week 1, that was Adrian Peterson. DeAndre Swift has had 5 targets in each game so far. To me, he's the running back play if there is one. In a game where they're a 5.5-point dog in a fast-paced game, I could see Swift getting up to 6 or 7, maybe 8 targets in this game, which would make him a viable PPR play. Outside of that, I have no interest.
Yeah, like I could see a lot of teams just with Carrion and Peterson for like bench RB depth and panic plays, especially going forward. Definitely not playable, but yeah, I love the Swift play. He is the Theo Riddick right now. He fills in perfectly and shows a lot of promise and could definitely squeak in like a receiving touchdown here in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. On Arizona's team, Kyler's currently the quarterback 4, just behind Cam. He's a must start until further notice, right?
Oh, yes. He's amazing.
And I'm interested this week in what happens because weeks 1 and 2, Arizona played great pass rushes in San Francisco and Washington, and this week they get this limp dick-ass Lions pass rush. So Kyler's going to actually have some time, which I think, one, might mean he needs to scramble less, which might actually lower his ceiling despite, being able to throw the ball around. But I am so upset because every week is obviously DeAndre Hopkins week in this offense, and I have already done the mea culpa. You are going to win that bet from me, that whole sort of thing. But this week was going to be Christian Kirk week so hard, and I was going to lock him into 100% of my DraftKings lineups, and now he's just out.
I need to go like deeper into that because when you said that in the text, I was like, I didn't know like why, just because they're going to have to heave it a bunch of times, or he's going to have more time.
Because the first 2 weeks he didn't have time to get the ball accurately deep to Kirk. Christian Kirk has a team high 36% of the air yards, 181 air yards total over the first 2 weeks. He was being used as a deep threat, and he was finally going to see a matchup where Kyler could just sit in the pocket and not have to scramble and get deep. And their cornerbacks aren't good because they're all hurt. Like, it was going to be – Christian Kirk was going to go for like 110 yards and a touchdown in this game, and I was going to make so much money off of him. And now he's just out. And now I have to figure out whether they're going to decide Andy Isabella takes his role, and I just roll like this terrible-ass play of Andy Isabella out there. And there's no one else who's actually going to take his role because Fitz only has 12 targets over the first 2 weeks, and he's not going deep. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I am so upset because, dude, like, it was about to be Christian Kirk week, and I was about to make so much money on him.
Well, between Andy Isabella and Keyshawn Johnson, whichever one you pick is wrong.
You can also throw a good old Trent Sherfield in there too.
I'm going to not throw him even close to that. It's just Isabella and Johnson for me.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Isabella, I was looking at it, just be like, give me a sign that it's going to be Andy Isabella. I just want one sign, but it's like 17 and 18% of snaps in the first 2 weeks. He does have a 29-yard average depth of target on his 2 targets, but like, it's just not there. And Christian Kirk was like so there as like this obvious deep threat breakout this week, and I'm upset, man. I'm really upset.
Isabella seems like a lot, dude.
Just lock him in.
Yeah, same thing.
So I got to figure that whole situation out now. But let's see. Moving on to the other positions. I don't know. Do you have any other opinions on the wide receivers?
No, not really. I mean, Larry's just kind of there. I don't think he should be owned like at all.
No, definitely not. And the 2 tight ends, Dan Arnold, has only got 4 targets. So he was like kind of a guy to look at, but it doesn't appear to be there just yet. Talk to me about Drake and Edmonds and what you think about the 2 of them.
I think with this over-under, I think if you're really pushing for like a running back play and you somehow have Chase Edmonds and you like, or I should say somehow need to play him, I think you can. I just think they're giving him enough run, and I think this game is high-scoring enough. Absolutely love Drake this week. I think he should go off as well. But, yeah, I think that Edmonds is sneaky, and I think Drake is going to have the best game of the season right here so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's been a bit disappointing for him through the first 2 weeks, but he's dominating carries 36-9 against Edmonds, and also has the team's only carry inside the 5 for a running back. So he's clearly the guy on the ground, even though Edmonds is out targeting him 9-4 on the season. I'm a little intrigued in terms of when I was looking at Kirk and was like, well, where do they go now? Edmonds does have 17 snaps in the slot or out wide over the first 2 weeks. Maybe they decide to line him up in the slot or out as a wide receiver a little bit more. So I'm there with you where I don't think Edmonds is like the worst, like fuck it flex type of situation, you know? He's definitely not a guy you want to go out of your way to start, but yeah, he could end up giving you, some decent production in this game.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. It's really the over-under helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge over-under. We love that. Who are you taking here?
Cardinals.
I'm going to say Galladay makes the difference and Detroit pulls the upset.
Wow. Straight up?
Yeah, but I hate it because, I'm only saying that to be contrarian because I feel like we've agreed on everything so far. But, I fucking hate Matt Patricia. I don't think he's going to do that. But I don't know. Maybe he will. Whatever. If that's
Speaking my pick. Do you think he's, close to getting fired? Or
I fucking hope so, man.
I just don't know.
Fuck out of there.
What is Detroit doing? The owner fired herself. Patricia can't fire himself, but will be fired soon.
Matt Patricia ate himself to death. That's what's going to happen in this situation. And then they bring in a new coach, and he sucks just as much. No, I don't know. Yeah, I think Patricia deserves to be fired, but I've thought that for 2 years already. So
bring Jim Caldwell back. That guy did not deserve that. 9-7, and they just fire the motherfucker.
Yeah, well, what can you do? All right, we are going to take a quick break, and we will be back with 4 more football games to break down for you. Some pretty fucking exciting ones, if I do say so myself. So stick around. Should I do the ad read before I take a piss or after I take a piss?
After. We'll get back, and then we'll just be like, hey, we're back. But before.
Okay. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We have 4 more games to go for the Week 3 preview, part 2 of it. But before we do that, it's currently winning season, Vin, because winning season has returned at MyBookie. And what does winning season mean, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. It means doubling your first deposit. It means insane props, epic bonuses, and the craziest of cross-sport wagers. At MyBookie, winning season means watching live sports and betting live sports all season long. That's all the seasons, which are all happening right now. Rejoice, because the NFL has returned. That means action-packed Sundays and huge cash prizes. So get in on the action. Use promo code Let's Talk, that's LETSTALK, and double your first deposit. New players get up to $1,000 in free play, which is designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games that you bet. So bet with the best this NFL season. For your chance to win big, use promo code Let's Talk and double your first deposit. Your winning season begins today, only at MyBookie. I have been betting at MyBookie recently. I bet on the Bengals with that backdoor cover on Thursday night. That was fun.
Joey backdoor.
Yeah, Joey backdoors. He's got 2 of them so far.
He's a king.
Give me the backdoor cover. Oh.
Skadoosh.
Hey, what do you think about that, Joey backdoors? I hope that trend continues so we actually can start calling him Joey backdoors.
I feel like it's going to stick right now.
What was it? I hit Seahawks. I hit the over and the Seahawks line on that, and then I parlayed the under and the Raiders, and I did not hit that because the game went over, even though the Raiders did win. But hey, what can you do? What are you thinking this week for betting? What's you got anything laid down yet already on MyBookie, or are you good? Or are you waiting till the weekend?
I slammed the Patriots. I took them everything. Yeah, I slammed them. I also always do just I do a fun parlay, and then I do a parlay that I think will hit. So I do the fun one, which is I pick the max amount of games I'm allowed to pick, and I'm just hey, it could happen. And then
throw like $1 on it and go from there.
And then I pick just like 6 solid games. So we didn't touch on it yet, but I think actually it's next. I love the Bucks. I took them as like one of in my brain, a lock. And then obviously Patriots are involved in that as well. I can't remember. I could bring it up, but yeah. What else you got, Walsh?
I haven't really done a lot of looking for this week yet. I'm trying to think. I think I might just. I mean, I know it's 56.5. I might just bet the over on Seattle Dallas because
dude, that's just gonna be fun.
That's gonna be like a fucking 49 to like 48 game.
It's gonna be great.
We'll get to it when we get to it, but yeah, I think what I'm gonna try and do this week, because I haven't really been doing it so far, is use player projections to bet on props a little bit more than I have been. So, because I know those prop lines are a little bit softer for the most part than like over-unders or totals or whatever else, just because there's less action on them. So I think I might this week try and give a shot at some of the player props and see what I can do with that.
Nice. Yeah, I always dip into that too, because it's always when you're heavily involved in fantasy, you're like, oh, this guy's a great matchup. He can easily go over 48 yards or whatever the fuck they have him at. So it's definitely more advantageous to bet the stuff we know as opposed to just – you put a lot of stock in like a full game. Like you got to know every ins and outs of it. But targeting the player props is a lot of fun too.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the player props we'll talk about is a receiver in this upcoming game. So let's get into it. We got Tampa Bay at Denver. Tampa Bay is a 5.5-point favorite. I'm going to bet Denver in this game. I just decided the over under is 43 with the spread.
Just said Bucks are my lock. Let's check this one out then.
Jeff Driscoll, baby.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I like Jeff Driscoll. I think he's not bad, but anyway.
He's going to throw it a lot and have really bad results.
Backdoor cover Jeff. Jeffy backdoors.
That will not stick.
You sure? It's pretty.
He is also Bengals alumni, so I don't know.
Yeah, seriously, it might be there. It's weird. He was terrible on the Bengals, and he was kind of good on Detroit last year, and now we'll get to it. Let's start with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady was really whatever for fantasy against the Panthers. I don't think he's in consideration as a start here. Do you?
No, not really.
That was hesitant.
Yeah, I mean, like, you want to.
I didn't mean to put words in your mouth.
No, you're totally right, though. Like, if you asked me before the Thursday night game, I would have said Gardner Minshew over. So.
Okay.
It's just like it's a shitty spot to be in. Like there's definitely better plays. I'd probably play Matthew Stafford instead.
I might play Justin Herbert over Tom Brady this week.
Okay, yeah. I mean that works. Maybe not that. That's scary. It's scary, but that works just because matchup. Like, no, you're right. You're right. It's
I think theoretically it's correct, but it's definitely scary.
Yes, very scary and should work on paper. I think is the correct? Yeah, definitely. But
all right, definitely. All right, let's move to the wide receivers. Chris Godwin should be back this week, so I think it makes it easy. I think we tried to get cute last week with the Scotty Millers and the O.J. Howards of the world. Godwin's back, and it's Godwin and Evans, and you call it a fucking day after that, right?
Very much agreed.
Yeah, I was very on O.J. Howard after he saw 7 targets in week 1, and then he got 3 this past week in a situation where I was like, I did this a couple times. I did it with Paris Campbell, where I was like, Jack Doyle is out, but that doesn't mean Mo Alley Cox is going to get the work. That means it's going to go to Paris Campbell. And like the sort of like absorb over a different position the work. And I did it with Howard too, where I was like, Godwin's out, but that doesn't mean Scotty Miller gets the work. It means Howard gets it. It's like neither of them fucking worked. But
just nobody gets it.
Just stop like galaxy braining yourself. But anyway, the backfield here, Rojo was looking good until the fumbled snap or the fumbled handoff with Brady, which was clearly Rojo's fault, and the team clearly thought it was Rojo's fault. And then it was Big Len's turn. And And Big Len had the most snaps. He had 12 carries for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. He added 4 catches on 5 targets for 29 yards. I don't think it's entirely his backfield. I'm sure Rojo and McCoy will get a little bit of looks, but like this is Leonard Fournette's backfield now, right?
Yeah, I was going to say we're probably like a game or two away from like a full lockdown. But yeah, one more Rojo fuck up and this is like over. And LaShawn McCoy, whatever. I think he also had a fuck up. He dropped a touchdown, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I just saw he got 7 targets on like 19% of the snaps. And I was like, weird. But
I believe I'm seeing it in my head. Like, I think he dropped a touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, like, Leonard Fournette is the best back in this backfield. And I think they just need to roll with it. And I think it's just going to, like, in this game, theoretically, Leonard Fournette should be able to get 15 carries and, like, demolish the Broncos front. Like, if James Conner was able to do it, I think Leonard Fournette should have no problem.
So are you starting Leonard Fournette over Joshua Kelly?
No. Just because there's still risk with Fournette getting the workload, where Kelly is 100% going to get the workload that we're accustomed to him getting, and the matchup is way better for Kelly.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other good, like, comparisons, and I'm not really finding any. Maybe let me look at, like, some other games that aren't on our –
How about
our 8 games?
Swift versus Fournette? Is that close?
Yeah. In, like, full PPR, That's actually a really good question.
I think I lean Swift.
I think I do too. And
for upside.
I think Fournette has a way higher ceiling because his ceiling is just like fucking pounding them in the running game and you know, scoring a couple touchdowns. But I think Swift has like a 4-catch floor that I don't think Fournette has. But
I was thinking upside of – I keep talking like the over-under. Like, I just think that his upside lies within the points that will be scored in that game, whereas Fournette in this game, I don't know that there will be too many to go around.
Okay. Jerick McKinnon or Leonard Fournette?
I think I'll go McKinnon.
I will too. But, okay. I think that kind of shows the – you know, what's going on, like where we've got him, basically.
It kind of took away a lot of my initial confidence of me saying Leonard Fournette, you can definitely play, but fuck.
I mean, he's definitely
can.
He's definitely not a bad play in particular. Like, I'm playing Dion fucking Lewis this week. Like, you can play Leonard Fournette. It's fine.
Running backs are fucked again. Really, really quickly. That happened so fast.
But wide receivers are also fucked. It's just everyone's fucked this year is the issue. You know, I thought I went pretty wide receiver deep, and I started Laviska Shenault this year and Brashad Perryman last week. I started Brashad Perryman, and this week I started Laviska Shenault. And I mean, like Rodgers literally went Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, and like followed up with more wide receivers. I think he has Christian Kirk. He has Henry Ruggs on his team. Like,
he's in a lot of trouble.
The dude is completely fucked, and he should have theoretically been set at wide receivers for the entire season. So I think this whole year is just kind of fucked in terms of injuries so far, rather than like running back is fucked or wide receiver is fucked.
It's all fucked.
Yeah, everything's fucked. That's why you play daily. All right, let's talk about the Broncos. Drew Lock is out at least 2 weeks with his shoulder injury. So Jeffy, what did I say? Who fucking cares? Jeff Driscoll is going to start.
Backdoor.
Jeffy backdoor. Yeah, that's a terrible name. It's like the shittiest porn star you know is Jeffy Backdoors.
I was going to say something worse. Never mind.
I cannot even fathom what you're going to say. All right. Jeff Driscoll kind of had a decent game. 18 for 34, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Like, that's not bad. This is a bad matchup, so I don't expect that sort of thing to happen again. But Driscoll is a guy who can kind of, like, he's got a little bit of mobility. He's, like, not afraid to throw the ball around a little bit. He's a guy who can kind of keep you in games or, like, at least score points. You know, in terms of his pass catchers, Cortland Sutton's on IR. That sucks. Jerry Jeudy is a game-time decision with a ribs injury after having 7 targets last week. which brings us to the guy who I should have played over Laviska Shenault last night in hindsight, and that's KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler last week in his first game, rookie out of Penn State, first game after missing week 1, he had 7 targets and a 22% air yard share in week 2, which led the team. I think he's like a legitimate play this week. Do you have an opinion on KJ Hamler?
That's a tough one. In my mind, I think this team just gets fucked up. So I don't even know if they're going to have like an opportunity to even answer back to like what the Bucs are going to do. I just think they're just going to shut them down on defense. Okay,
so this is like a situation where just like there are no beneficiaries of like being down big or whatever.
No, I really I just think Jeff Driscoll's going to have a tough fucking time. I think he was feeling himself coming into the game against the Steelers, was able to put up some nice make some nice plays, put up some points. I really think the only play on their side is Melvin Gordon.
Not even Noah Fant.
Oh, you got me. You can't sit Noah Fant.
I was going to say, I know I'm stretching a little bit on KJ Hamler, but like Noah Fant and Melvin Gordon are both plays here.
Yes. So I actually totally excluded Noah Fant from my brain. Yeah, he's like every week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And as I said, I was stretching on KJ Hamler. I think if Judy does not go at all, it makes
that becomes a different story then. But yeah, that's like panic at 1:00, right? Or is this a 4:00?
Yeah, it's a late game.
I think that makes it worse.
It definitely does. And I think KJ Hamler to me becomes a daily fantasy punt play, and I don't know what his price is, but I would assume he's a punt just based on who he is. So, like you said, Noah Fant, he's only had 11 targets over the first 2 weeks, but he's turned it into 9 catches for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. Similar to Hawkinson, he's a guy where it's like, get this guy more than 5.5 targets a goddamn week. Like, what are you doing?
Especially now, like he's got to be the offense.
Yeah, like if he doesn't get 8 targets this week, like there's a fucking problem here. So there's that. And then Melvin Gordon was clearly the bell cow with Phillip Lindsay out. He had 19 carries for 70 yards and added 2 catches on 3 targets for 14 yards and a touchdown. This obviously is not an ideal matchup, but like when there's 2 guys, and tell me if this makes sense to you. There's 2 guys who it's like bad team, but they're going to get like 75+% of the running back touches, both rushing and passing, which makes them every week plays no matter what. And it's Melvin Gordon and David Johnson are like the 2 guys I'm like grouping together as just like bell cows on bad teams.
Yeah, that's pretty dead on. I'm trying to think of another one. Possibly Mike Davis after this week.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we'll see with those, but yeah, that's a good point. I was kind of just thinking in terms of like, the guys who are just going to be down, but it's like, oh, they're going to get all the touches, but yeah.
Yeah, regardless of results, I think that's a good call. Also, I think Phillip Lindsay's kind of close, but I guess when he gets back, we'll deal with that, but just keep an eye on him.
Yeah. When Phillip Lindsay is back, then we reevaluate the whole situation. But I think what we learned last week is that Royce Freeman is not going to eat into Melvin's work, and he is a legit bell cow without Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah.
All right. We're both taking Tampa Bay here, I guess.
Yes, sir. Wait, I thought you said you were taking the Broncos.
I'm going to take them with the points.
Okay.
I want that backdoor Jeffy backdoors, dude. That sucks. I'm pissed at myself for saying that. Joey backdoors is so good, but like
Joey
Jeffy backdoors sucks.
It's okay. He'll be gone after Blake Bortles comes in.
All right, let's move to Dallas at Seattle. Seattle's a 5-point favorite with an over-under of 56.5 points. Let's go. Play everyone.
Yeah, like straight up.
Like we can get into it, and we will. But this is just a play everyone game. The over-under is 56.5 fucking points. Like you don't have to overthink this even a little bit. But yeah, let's break it down in a little bit more detail than just play everyone, because I on the Dallas side, I think supposedly the test for Tyron Smith is that he's gonna try and practice on Saturday, and they're gonna figure it out from there. And I think Tyron Smith, the left tackle, whether he plays, makes a pretty big difference in how we project the Cowboys in terms of what receivers we think can be used or that sort of thing. But talking about Dak, obvious start this week, right?
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to rush for 3 touchdowns this week, I don't think. But
that was pretty cool, though.
It was very cool. And for the wide receivers, I'm going to do a quick breakdown of their usage and then talk about how Tyron Smith affects that and maybe how it doesn't matter this week, if that's all right. So I think we can break the receivers down like this. Amari, you play him every week no matter what. Amari has 23 targets, 16 catches, 181 yards. That's a 28% target share and a 37% air yard share. Amari gets targeted shallow, medium, deep, all of it. Amari is in every week number 1 no matter what. Michael Gallup, so far this season, 10 targets, 5 catches, 108 yards. That's only a 12% target share, but it's a 28% share of air yards, which means he's getting targeted down the fucking field. So I think the reason that we haven't seen him really pop yet is because of the good pass rushes that they've faced. They faced the Rams week 1, and then they faced the Falcons, who have an underrated pass rush with 2 very good defensive ends. And also the Cowboys were missing Tyron Smith at left tackle and Lyle Collins at right tackle. Which brings us to CeeDee Lamb, 15 targets, 11 catches, 165 yards. That's a 17% target share, but only a 15% air yard share. CeeDee plays in the slot, so he's getting these short targets, which means if we project a decent pass rush on the Cowboys, then we want CeeDee in our lineups because he's going to get used underneath. Now, in terms of this week, we don't know what Tyron Smith is going to do yet, but the Seahawks pass rush is not very good specifically compared to the Rams or the Falcons. So I said before I wanted it to be Christian Kirk week. I'm going to give this an extra oomph if Tyron Smith plays, but even if he doesn't, I think I'm going to declare this Michael Gallup week.
Let's go.
This is the week where Gallup breaks out.
I like it.
And again, if Tyron Smith goes, probably 100% of my DraftKings lineups. I think people are down on him and deservedly so with only the 10 targets and the 5 catches for 108 yards. But that 28.6% of air yards, that means something. And if Dak gets a little bit more time this week behind that offensive line, we could see Gallup really break out this week.
I love that call.
Fuck yeah. All right.
That was beautiful. I literally anything I add, we'll just dumb that down. Way to go, Walsh. Great breakdown.
Thank you. Let's talk about Dalton Schultz. What the fuck happened there?
Play that dude, man. He's like up in the must-play tight end dudes.
10 targets, 9 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, I think part of that might have been the Falcons' pass rush and like them getting it out short or whatever. But like, goddamn, you can't sit a tight end that does that.
No way. It's the only thing I could say is there's a lot of mouths to feed, that whole trope. But he's too. If we're on Blake Jarwin to start the season, why would you not pick up Dalton Schultz and just play him? What's wrong with you?
And I agree with you on the lot of mouths to feed thing, but also it doesn't apply in a game with a 56.5 point over-under.
And I feel like that's going to be most Cowboys games this season. It's just they're going to have to fight for their lives.
I mean, I think the 3 teams where it's just they're going to have these wild shootout games all year are going to be Dallas, Seattle, and Atlanta. And we've gotten lucky because they've kind of just played each other so far this year. But it seems like that's correct so far, right? Those are the teams where it's just every week they're going to be in this weird shootouts and you're going to want to play everyone. So yeah, Dalton Schultz is going to be a good play more often than he's not, I think. And then we haven't even talked about Zeke because it's so obvious of just
just fucking do it.
Yeah.
God,
I'm upset in Don's dad's league that we play in. I took Saquon over Zeke with the 3rd pick because Kamara went 2. And in my head, I was like, should you take Zeke here? And I was like, nah, take Saquon. It's like, that fucking idiot. But anyway.
I mean, that's just – that whole situation's just –
yeah.
If you're talking about galaxy braining, like playing some third wide receiver in a DK lineup, like you can't galaxy brain the third pick taking Saquon.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. All right, Seattle side of the ball, Russ. Holy shit.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's all right, I guess.
I think they should play Geno.
In my notes, and these are only for myself, I literally just wrote Russ VP in my notes. Like that was the only note. Like that's it.
All right, so we got Joey backdoors and Russ VP. Let's go.
I think Joey backdoors is legitimately good, and everything else that I've said is bad.
I like Russ VP.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's talk about his pass catchers, and this is fucking easy because there's only 3 guys on the team with over a 10% target share, and they are Chris Carson at a 13% target share, DK Metcalf with 22% of the targets and 48% of the goddamn air yards, Tyler Lockett with 26% of the targets and 33% of the air yards. This is so easy to have this, like, to have guys on this team. Because Carson this week got a larger snap share, 63%. He appears to be the clear lead back, 17 carries, 3 targets. All 3 running backs have 1 carry inside the 5, so there's no clear goal line back. Like, you play Russ, you play Carson, you play DK, and you play Tyler Lockett, and that's it. Like, it's fucking easy.
Yeah, don't get cute. That's it. That's it.
And all of them smash every week too. Like it's not like you need to worry about like, oh, this is a play that might not work out. Like they are all going to work out.
I had that like dickhead moment where you overanalyze, like week 1 with Chris Carson. I was like, oh, he only touched the ball 6 times, but like he had like fucking 24 points. So it was like, I don't know if it's going to be like a limited usage kind of deal in Pete Carroll's offense or whatever the fuck he always does, but came out and just destroyed during the Patriot game. So it doesn't seem like there's any problem with him whatsoever.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't think you need to worry about Hyde or Homer as guys to own or consider playing or anything like that. Nope. So pretty fucking easy. Who you taking here?
This is not so easy, but I'm going to go Seattle. I want to take Dallas upset, but Seattle, dude, Russ is too good.
I'll take the Dallas upset just for fun.
Okay.
Also, because if I want my Dak MVP bet to hit, he better start fucking acting like an MVP. So
I can cash that out for $10 right now.
All right, let's move to the Sunday night game where we have Green Bay at New Orleans. I'm a little surprised this over-under is 52.5. New Orleans is still a 3-point favorite. I guess New Orleans did put up a lot of points against the Raiders in that game, and Green Bay has as well. But I think the big story here is the best 2 wide receivers in football are both out. Michael Thomas is definitely out. Devontae is quote unquote probably doubtful, which made me laugh when I read it. That
I miss probable so much.
Yeah, I don't know why they got rid of that because like it made it so easy, right?
It was great. Probable is like I'm playing. Questionable is like I should be concerned. Doubtful is out.
Now when there's a queue, it's like I have to look and be like, is this guy just like he's practicing every day and like they just threw it on there? Or is it like he hasn't practiced all week and we legitimately don't know? Yeah, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. He's the fantasy quarterback 7 after 2 weeks, and now he's in a game with a 50-plus over-under, but he is likely going to be missing his number 1 receiver. So do we think he's worth playing in this matchup?
I still don't. I think I would find someone else. If like Big Ben is out there on some waivers, something like that, because they're going to want to just like destroy the Saints with the run game. They're going to want to run Aaron Jones consistently, especially if Adams is out. Aaron Rodgers does not have a ceiling if Adams doesn't play. So that's just like the bottom line there. And they want to run the football so much with Aaron Jones anyway. So I just feel like it's going to lean in that direction. So the limited upside for Aaron Rodgers, like, of course he can get it done, but seems like a little bit of a suspect play to me.
So in this situation, would you rather play Rodgers or Stafford if Devontae Adams is out?
Adams out, Stafford.
Me too. I'm right there with you. Also, the Celtics went up 10 in this game. I don't know if you saw that.
How the fuck did that happen?
I don't know. I think it's all been in the third quarter.
Is that going to that's going to a game 7?
No way. The Heat.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. We need to know. Sorry.
We'll talk after.
We're recording this on Friday night. I have the Heat Celtics playoff game. There's currently 4 minutes to go in the third on.
He can come back. That's fine.
Yeah. There's plenty of time. They're only up 8 now anyway. But so going along with Devontae being probably doubtful, in week 2, MVS led other receivers with 6 targets. Lazard got 5. Do you have any faith in either MVS or Aaron Lazard?
One of them will be good, and I don't feel like guessing, especially season long. No fucking chance.
I would prefer MVS, but it's not like he's got more usage this year. Lazard's getting more snaps, but I mean, again, if Adams is out, then I think I would prefer MVS just because he's more likely to catch like a 60-yard pass for a touchdown, which gets you there right away. But yeah, I'm not overly enthused by either guy. What happens when Devontae Adams is out, and this is why I made so much money this weekend, is it becomes the Aaron Jones show. Like Aaron Jones led the team in targets. He had 8 targets in week 2. This is going to be another Aaron Jones show. And you said running it with him, but like they're going to want to run it with him, throw the ball to him. This is Aaron Jones' offense until Devontae Adams is back healthy, and he should be considered maybe the number 1 running back overall until Devontae Adams is back healthy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I like, especially after watching the Raiders just fucking eviscerate them on the ground. Like, how does Aaron Jones not just fuck this team up?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to. I think that's, like what's going to happen here. Do you have any, and I know the Packers tight ends haven't done jack shit, but like we just saw Darren Waller dominate New Orleans. Does that intrigue you at all with like Robert Tonyan or Jay Sternberger or this?
Never.
Literally came to my head as you mentioned the Raiders, and I was like, Darren Waller did really well. I wonder if they're tight ends. And then I was like, wait a minute, like mid-sentence, I was like, this is a dumb fucking question.
They will be blocking for Aaron Jones.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. I think that's all we need to talk about there. So on the New Orleans side of the ball, obviously Michael Thomas is out. We mentioned that. Drew Brees, you can't play, right?
No, and I think it goes back to what we said. I'd probably play Stafford over both QBs in this game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So with Thomas out, I think we were looking for like who's going to be the guy in this pass game. Is it going to be Manny Sanders, who got three targets, 1 catch, 8 yards on 11% air yards? Is it going to be Traquan Smith? Maybe. 7 targets, 5 catches, 86 yards, 35% of the air yards. Jared Cook, 5 targets, 2 catches, 13 yards, 1 touchdown, 27% of the air yards. So, okay. But the correct answer, similar to the Green Bay side of the ball, they're parallel teams in this. The correct answer was just Kamara. Kamara got 13 carries, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and he added 9 catches on 9 targets for 95 yards in the air. Like, if you're trying to figure out the fantasy situation in this game, it's Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara, and they're going to score all 52.5 points in the over-under.
I was going to say, it's billed as like Rodgers versus Breeze. It's exactly not that. It is just Kamara versus Jones.
Yeah, 100%. It's and, I think if you're going to choose ancillary pieces for the Saints, like obviously Cook you can play because it's tight end.
I like Traquan.
I like Traquan too. I thought he had a very good game this past week, and 35% of the air yards is intriguing to me. So I'm fine with Traquan as well. I think Manny, you can't start him this week. You can't do it. You see what he does this week, but you cannot play him this week.
It's like, he's obviously had more time with the Saints, but when he got traded to the 49ers, like it was just there wasn't enough time, and it didn't really pan out. It wasn't very cohesive, and like the best games he had, you couldn't have even been close to predicting. So I don't know. It just kind of seems like he's going to blow up. Like you'll never know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Side note, this is actually a game that my friends and I were planning on flying to New Orleans to go to before COVID. So unfortunate on that part, but what can you do? Another side note, it just popped up because my screen refreshed on next to my outline. The Dallas-Seattle game is now a 57-point over-under rather than a 56.5-point over-under. So if you wanted more reason to play all the dudes in that fucking game, then there you go.
That means Smith is active. Like there's no other way to move that needle like that much.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, Green Bay at New Orleans. Which side are you taking?
Packers.
I will take the Saints then.
Bitch.
I guess. All right, Monday Night Football, potentially the best game of the year. Kansas City at Baltimore. Just how did we get blessed with this kind of like Green Bay at New Orleans? And I know Green Bay at New Orleans is like kind of like a weird matchup now with the like Green Bay at New Orleans and then Kansas City at Baltimore. Like whoever put together the Week 3 schedule, you did it, dude. Like you did it.
And then it's funny. They open Week 4 with Jets Broncos on Thursday. Fucking straight to the bottom.
Yeah, hey, go fuck yourself. It's like okay.
Remember all those awesome things? Fuck you.
You want Jeff Driscoll versus Sam Darnold?
Jeffy backdoor Thursday night.
I will add if they're going to be favorites. I was going to say if they're underdogs, Jeffy Backdoors is covering that spread on Thursday night.
That's Jeffy front door, back door, side door.
Jeffy breaking in your fucking house. All right, Kansas
Opening
City.
up that weird basement thing, double handle.
The cellar door. All right. Kansas City at Baltimore. Baltimore's a 3.5-point favorite with an over-under of 54.5. This is another easy one where you just start everyone. Patrick Mahomes is obvious. So for the Chiefs pass catchers, we have Tyreek Hill. We have Travis Kelce. They're both, again, monsters. Where it gets a little bit interesting is Sammy Watkins is in concussion protocol. We do not know at this time whether or not he is going to play. So is it time to play either Mecole Hardman or Demarcus Robinson?
Someone's going to get a rub in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to rub one out during this game.
I mean, beyond us rubbing one out.
All right.
Maybe a couple. One each half. One each half.
I'll control myself.
Yeah, for the veterans, probably one per quarter. But to get one of these guys to hit on like your season-long fantasy is going to be like tough as fuck. I don't know how desperate you have to be at wide receiver to be considering any of these guys, but it almost reminds me of when we were talking about not last year, 2 years ago with the Rams versus the Chiefs on Monday night. It's very similar where it's like play like Josh Reynolds, play like all the ancillary pieces. I even think DeMarcus Robinson had a good game then, but it's very tough to predict the outside pieces of like the Chiefs offense here. So I can't really advise on starting anyone, but someone's going to have a good game. It's like someone's going to catch a touchdown. That's just –
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's hard to advise like both or either of them. You brought up that Chiefs-Rams game. That's still the best football game, bar none, I've seen in my entire life.
That had everything.
I remember just pacing back and forth in my living room in the fourth quarter of that game. But
that was something else.
Anyway, for this game, I want to make a bit of a point here, which is that Watkins out, and everyone says like, you know, I think we're being kind of rational about it, but people are like, time for Mecole. Mecole's going to be the guy. I just want to note that in week 2, both of them, or Mecole played 65% of the snaps compared to 62 for Demarcus Robinson. Both had about 13% of the air yards, and Robinson out-targeted Mecole 4-3. Like, I don't get why every time a KC wide receiver is hurt, it's Mecole's the play, when in Mecole's career, Demarcus Robinson has been just as, if not more successful. So I'm not necessarily recommending playing either, both, whatever. I'm just saying don't be like, okay,
it's not a plug and play. It's not a plug and play at all.
It's not like Watkins is out, so now it's Mecole Hardman. It's like it's both of them splitting time, and both of them, I think, just as likely to have big games because clearly Mahomes trusts DeMarcus Robinson. Like, that's not going away anytime soon. So
also dropped a touchdown week 1. Like, he looks for the dude. So
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with playing either, both, neither. I don't care. It's going to be a huge high scoring game, and like take the amount of risk that you want to in this. At running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He saw 10 carries for 38 yards this past week on the ground. But after only 1 target in week 1, he got 8 targets. He turned that into 6 catches for 32 yards. So I think what that means is we can kind of just see him as game script independent at this point, and he's an every week start.
Yes, sir.
All right. Talk to me about the Ravens. We'll start with Lamar.
Yeah.
The only thing in my notes was Lamar, duh. Like that.
Yeah, like that's.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he is just. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's something else. Like it's. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's very impressive every time I watch. Probably the only thing I could pick apart on their offense is the distribution of carries in the running back situation. I really can't gauge that. Like, it's like play everybody, but prepare to be disappointed as fuck.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like playing nobody because you have no idea. But I mean, like,
with this over/under, you have to play. If you have them, you have to play them.
Yeah, like I guess I'm playing Ingram and Dobbins. I mean, I'm still not playing Edwards, even though he's
out snapping like Dobbins by a lot.
Well, he got the same amount of snaps as Dobbins in week 2.
Overall, though?
He just got way more work. Where he got 10 carries compared to Dobbins 2. But Dobbins also got 1 target in the pass game. So.
Dobbins almost. All right, I'm just seeing like Dobbins break that huge run in my head, and he almost scored. Yes,
he was in and didn't really get used in week 2, and Edwards was in and did get used. Like Edwards was in on 31% of snaps, but got 10 carries. Dobbins was in on the same amount of snaps, but only got 2 carries. So he just didn't really get used. So I don't know. I guess I would say Ingram, Dobbins, but. Maybe you do just like in this injury ravaged season, is it unreasonable to say play all 3 of these running backs ahead of Dion Lewis and Devontae Freeman? Should I pick up Gus Edwards right now? Is that what
I was about to say? I was literally about to use you as a compare. Like you are fucked at running back. Like you have nobody.
Should I be picking up Gus Edwards like right now as we podcast?
Maybe I'll pick him up and block you. Let's go.
Fuck you.
Go. So I'm not doing that, but. I mean, I did click on our league page, but that doesn't. Just relax. I'll pick him up and trade him to you for someone good. But yeah, I mean, like, I think Gus Edwards is a play. Like, it's the shittiest thing I could advise, but I think that when you have people like when they're splitting this much with like Ingram, or not like even splitting, just like wanting to distribute and try to get them each involved at their particular skill set in this offense, I think that. You can't really afford to sit any of them when this game is going to go way over.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them in games in 2 blowouts so far, right? So it's hard to say what the running back split is going to look like in a game that we expect to be close. Like, if it's a close game, do they eliminate Edwards and just go to Ingram and Dobbins? Do they run Edwards more? Like, no one fucking knows.
That's actually a very good point that I did not think about.
But I mean, who's to say that Edwards is the guy that they eliminate in a close game? Maybe Dobbins is the guy they eliminate in a close game. He's a rookie, like maybe when they're down. I mean, I would think if they're down, they eliminate Edwards because he doesn't get any of the pass work. But like,
he's also got none of the buzz. Like I think Dobbins is way more electric. Like he fucking.
He had 2 carries for 48 yards this past week. So
that's like big dick play potential. So yeah, and like obviously Edwards, the whole Gus bus thing like a year or 2 ago, still rings true, but like, dude, they brought Dobbins in for a reason. Dobbins is obviously way more.
Yeah. My thinking is maybe in a more 50-50 game, we get more of Ingram and Dobbins and less of Edwards. But I mean, it's really just all conjecture at this point. Like, who knows? Maybe we get more of Edwards. I don't know. You said that was like your only concern. I'm kind of concerned about the spread among the pass catchers too, because
let me just preface this by saying, like, I'm not concerned because I'm only considering Marquise Brown
or Mark Andrews.
Also, I keep just totally fucking the tight end. Like, Noah Fant, Mark Andrews, they're not people to me. I don't know why.
Right, but so if we look at target splits, and I'll go through the air yards too because that makes a difference. But Marquise Brown 12 targets, Mark Andrews 9 targets, Miles Boykin 9 targets, Willie Snead 6 targets over 2 weeks. Like, that is a tight ass fucking target share, and I expect them to have to throw the ball a little bit more this week. So, like, yeah, I'm obviously still on Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews. Particularly because Marquise Brown has the 36% of air yards, Mark Andrews has 24%, and Boykin only has 14%. Snead, I think, has like 0%. He's basically catching screen passes, and he's caught all 6 of his targets for 93 yards and a touchdown. We can expect regression because Willie Snead's not that good. I'm still on Brown and Andrews, but I am a little bit concerned that this isn't just a Brown and Andrews offense like it was last year. Like, Boykin has the same amount of targets as Mark Andrews. He only has 12 less receiving yards, and he has 1 more catch. That's concerning to me.
That is very concerning. I don't know what to do now. Why do you do this, dude? Stop.
I don't know.
Let me live in a bubble.
I'm still rolling out Brown and Andrews. The other thing, if we take this as less concerning, is Miles Boykin to play this week?
Oh God! All right, hold on. Who have we talked about that we can compare this to? All right, wait.
So
Miles Boykin or Mecole Hardman?
Mecole Hardman for me. And I think I would put Robinson over him too.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say
Manny Sanders or Miles Boykin?
Fuck Manny. I'm sorry. I'll go Miles on that one.
Yeah, I will too. Andy Isabella. No.
Maybe Andy, though.
Michael Pittman Jr. or Miles Boykin this week?
Miles Boykin, we talked about that one. That's just
okay.
Recipe for disaster on that. But yeah. Like, you got to take this over.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would think so.
Well, I'm saying, like, take the guys in this game that have this huge over as opposed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I got you on that. Yeah. Take the guys with the projected high point totals.
I didn't mean specifically bet the over. Although
bet the over on 54.5. No, Miles Boykin, the thing that concerns me with him is the low ADOT. He only has a 6-yard ADOT, which is weird because he's like really fucking big and athletic. So I don't know how they're using them or what they're trying to do there. But I thought it needed to be brought up that this isn't necessarily just the Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews show in terms of target share anymore. It's not just like it's not the Mark, Tom, and Travis show in terms of, God, I need to stop making indulgent puns. But
it's also that's like an old man. That's an old man reference now.
Yeah, seriously, I'm a 29-year-old guy making Blink-182 references on my fantasy football podcast. Yeah. That sucks.
We're fucking bums.
Yeah, I guess so. But I wanted to make the point that there is a little bit more getting spread around in this offense through 2 weeks than maybe we would have expected. So
I'm going to ask you all, are you worried about the fact that the Ravens are favored? Like, what is your just overall opinion on, because this is like one of the most not outrageous lines, but the most eye-popping to me. It's like, Chiefs, everybody loves the Chiefs. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl last year. They're dogs week 3. I thought that was absolutely mind-blowing. So,
I mean, Baltimore through 2 weeks is clearly the best team in the NFL. I don't think there's even a question about it. Casey just
who had the harder schedule, though?
Yeah, I mean, they've played Houston and Cleveland, so it's not like they're like playing world beaters here. But they look like a team that their offense has not taken a step back like we thought it might. And again, we're looking at two not great defenses, but their offense has not taken a step back, and their defense is healthy and has gotten better. And this was a good defense to begin with, but they have three spectacular cornerbacks that are all healthy.
They're disgusting.
They upgraded their pass rush. Their pass rush is significantly better than it was last year.
That's massively, dude. Calais Campbell is taking names.
Yeah, and so we're looking at a team that was spectacular last year, has the MVP, and got better. And with the Chiefs, we're looking at a team that got taken to overtime by a rookie quarterback who found out he was going to start about 45 seconds before the game started.
They didn't prepare for Justin Herbert, okay?
You shouldn't have to prepare for a rookie quarterback. And I'm not saying that to say that the Chiefs ready. I'm not saying that the Chiefs are bad or anything like that. The Chiefs are obviously a great team, but I think if I am trying to make this line, I am choosing Baltimore.
Chiefs all the way. All
right. We'll end on that then, I guess. Little debate over maybe the two best teams in the league.
It's gonna rule. Bottom line, we're gonna have fun.
Yeah, the only winners in this game are all of us. So it's going to be a great time. I'm very excited. I think we went through a lot of good information and a lot of fun games tonight, so I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, that was part 2 of the Week 3 preview. As Vinny says, what do you say? You say fucking calm down, don't whatever. I don't know.
Don't panic. Have fun. Don't kill yourself.
Yeah, don't panic. Have fun. Play the waiver wire. Don't kill yourself.
Work the wire. Work
the waiver wire. Don't kill yourself. Enjoy the football. The NFL product to me has been fucking spectacular this year. I have loved football. I've thought football has been, really. I
haven't really noticed any in comparison like basketball, like you don't really see the fans during football games, so it's like. Other than like when you're watching the action on the field, like you're not really aware. So you hear that little like droning. So they filled that, I guess. I don't know. I'm just so stupid. I'm watching Red Zone and they fucking flip the thing 80 times a second. So
yeah, even the bad games have been like fun or funny, like the Pittsburgh Denver game, or like the Denver Tennessee game, and like the Pittsburgh like New York Giants game or whatever. It's like they were bad games, but they were funny. Like last night was fun. Like the Jacksonville Dolphins game, I had a ton of fun watching that game. Like I've had fun watching football for the entire time that I have watched football so far this year, and I hope you guys are all doing the same, because it's really been a highlight of my life in this terrible shithole of a year. So I don't know, Vinny, you got anything else?
Don't panic. Have fun. Work the waiver wire. Don't kill yourself.
Wise words from a wise man who pulled double duty for you this week. So for Vinny Gonzalez, my name is Nick Walsh. We are Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Later, podcast.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.